Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? I am Dan from Trading with Dan. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin 4-hour charts. So we are yet again still pretty much sideways, consolidating below our resistance zone. Not taken out. We've wicked below them, but not properly taken out and moved lower than this previous low here. But we've tested it 3 times now, actually with ever so slightly increasing lower lows. And obviously, as we know, the more times you test the level, the more likely it is to break. And we are operating under this resistance level. So we have certainly got some warning flags here for the potential move down to the low 50,000s. The clear invalidation of that, or not necessarily invalidation, but the clear point at which we then actually will potentially see a bit of a bear trap here, as the bears have failed after 3 times to push us down, would probably be a 4-hour close above 58.5, and then we'll be clear above this price action, the horizontal, and then potentially make that move to 60,000. Once we get above 60,000, I think the bears for the short and medium term will pretty much capitulate on this move, start covering their shorts, and then we should get a nice little squeeze up into this next $60,000 to $64,000 range. I mean, that is literally what we got to look out for. We've got to look out for basically losing 55,000, losing these lows on like a 4-hour closing basis, at which point we will get acceleration. I say will, that was a bit definite. We will likely get acceleration down to the low 50s, or if we get above 58.5, things will start to look good to get back above 60, and then I think these shorts will, capitulate is a strong word, just cover their shorts. I mean, people that have been shorting, the shorts will clearly be in a decent profit, so it'll be time for them to take profit after giving it every chance of moving down to the low 50s. So realistically, not a lot to say there. We've just kind of got to watch this range. It is a good old game of levels. If we actually want to go and look at something else that's interesting though, our good old Ethereum Satoshi pairing, having a nice squeeze up here into its resistance. So above obviously all these previous highs, into this extreme level that he's kind of struggled with the past few times. But if we are to move above here, above about 0.078 into the 0.08s, then I mean realistically this could really start to get going, could really start to get moving. I fail to see that happening in an environment where Bitcoin is moving down towards 50k, or low 50ks. But I mean, that could happen. This could get hit as Bitcoin makes a move down, as it consolidates around 50k, which you would expect has a good chance of being the macro low before we move onwards and upwards, if we are to move onwards and upwards. At that point, maybe then Ethereum really accelerates higher faster than Bitcoin as it grinds back up from the low 50ks. So lots of possibilities and alternatives here. If this Ethereum Satoshi pairing was all the way down here and looking pretty bearish, then I would have slightly less confidence in Bitcoin for potentially turning around here, or for or having a very good chance of holding that low 50,000. But I mean, we've got a few headwinds. Obviously we've got not oil, sorry, I didn't mean to click on oil. We will talk about oil in a sec, real briefly, but we have obviously got the dollar headwind. I mean, we do know this is inversely correlated to Bitcoin. On the whole, it doesn't have to be all the time, but we do know there is that correlation there, even though we've been into the actual dynamics of the DXY, and it's just a dollar against some other currencies, some other trash currencies. Yeah, oil. Just wanted to point out, obviously Biden decided he was going to release some. Obviously Biden realized that the price of oil was an emergency, and then decided to release some barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and that was bullish for the market. I mean, not really the price action that he expected. I mean, it's kind of like one of those things. Once you hit peak peak bearishness, obviously with Biden trying to dump some SPR oil, then that's it. That's the inflection point, and the market turns around. So we could actually be seeing the oil turn back up now. Everybody in Finance 1.0 wants to get long this trade because they just know there's obviously inflation driving it. They know there's a government policy driving it. They know there's market speculation driving it. The trend is your friend. I mean, everything is on the side of this going higher. OPEC Plus, they don't particularly want to help out the US. They don't like the US. So they're not, they may say, China as well, they may say they're going to release some, but they ain't going to release some. And at the end of the day, we all know market forces are way more powerful than actual market manipulation, like releasing oil, increasing, pretending to increase supply, jawboning basically. I mean, they may be able to do it. I mean, obviously the Finance 1.0 market manipulators are basically overstepping their basically their powers or whatever. They're basically getting too big for their boots. I mean, they've clearly manipulated and smashed gold and silver down, obviously with the help of cryptocurrency, taking away a lot of the funds also. But they ain't going to be able to smash oil down in the same way. The only thing that's going to smash oil down is a recession. So obviously watch out for the bond yields, because the bond yields will indicate potentially recession. Obviously bond yields are rising, which bond yields falling is obviously an indication of recession. The yield curve flattening as well, but these bond yields are not looking too bad. So I mean, the bond yields can rise. The cure for high prices is high prices. Higher bond yields will certainly have an impact on the real economy, and then we could get that recession. And then finally you can have oil prices lower. Peter Schiff wrecked. Just out of interest, Peter Schiff wrecked. So yeah, I mean, I did say as well, if people were gonna buy this for the proper move up, they would be buying and pull back in towards the 1800s. But this has got a bit aggressive to the downside now. It has got a bit aggressively down. So I mean, it's happened again. The gold traders are FOMO'd in, and then we've got smashed back down again. When will those guys learn? Stock market trying to recover a bit here. I mean, if you want to just extend this trend line along, it has basically regained this trend line, unless I have just adjusted where I've drawn it, which I believe I have. Trying to regain this trend line. Obviously that would be super bullish. Onwards and upwards. Stocks looking like they're wanting to recover. NASDAQ looking like it wants to try and stabilize here and continue on upwards. So realistically, it does seem like business as usual, albeit with a bit of a correction. Bond yields rising though will be a concern. The dollar continuing to rise will be a concern. There are concerns about, but nothing goes up in a straight line. So I'm expecting, even if Bitcoin, and obviously Bitcoin in this current downtrend, nothing goes down in a straight line. So even if we get a bounce that doesn't take us to new all-time highs, at some point we will get a bounce. Stock markets, I can't see them not resuming the onwards and upwards, obviously, unless less bond yields and the dollar really start to become a pain. But then there's always the good old YCC, yield curve control, in which case that will whack the dollar, and then we'll go into basically risk assets will potentially should rally in that sort of scenario. But YCC, yield curve control, is basically one of their last resorts, because they're not going to raise rates. They can't realistically start the tapering. Bond yields are potentially going to rise, and then so yield curve control is realistically the central bank's only option. Ethereum USD pairing, as we can see, consolidating in this little range here. If it breaks above and continues onwards and upwards, then we should be looking at 5k plus Ethereum. Nice pullback at the moment though, but it needs to really accelerate above here. Or it's not really looking like one, but you could sort of squint and see a head and shoulders. If we obviously, but realistically, just look at this horizontal here. That's all you need to know. If you break that, then lower prices. But if you break above here and start to continue to move upwards, then pretty much 5k, and then on our way to that 8k EOY, which we are fast running out of time on. But EOY was just an arbitrary expression. Even if it comes somewhere in Q1 next year, already making my excuses there. Even if it comes in Q1 next year, who cares about timing? Who cares about the timing? It's just about the destination, the destination and the path we take. So let's have a look at stochastics. 4 hours still sort of floundering around here, but still turning up from a low level. I mean, I don't know whether this 10 and 12 hour really going to be how they're going to be doing here. I mean, yeah, 10 hours still coming down, trying to go and turn back up. 12 hours still coming down. Daily has turned back up there. This is an important one. If this gets going, then it could maybe lend some help, because then hopefully that can feed through to the buy daily as well, and then we'll start to turn some of these medium ones around. 3-day and 5-day obviously going to be a lot harder to turn around, and then bi-weekly and monthly pointing to the upside and going to be very hard to turn down to the downside at the moment. But yeah, I mean, 12 hour daily if it gets moving, feed through to these ones, and then 10 and 12 hour, if that is to happen, will turn up as well also. I mean, things could start to look a lot better. They could start to look like a bit of a bear trap down here. The bears were given every opportunity to break down, and then yeah, back above 58.5, back above 60. I mean, realistically, we'd expect at least into the zone, but we could, with those stochastics all turning around at that point, which they will, we could actually expect back to these all-time highs, and then obviously we've got every chance of breaking above and beyond those all-time highs. So yeah, thank you for listening, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.